Hi, and welcome to the HR Link, where we have people-first conversations that centre around the humans inside your business. I'm Amy from Grounded HR, and my superpower lies in my ability to zero in on the individual to bring out their unique strengths, whilst helping values-led Australian businesses lead their teams with confidence and care. Here you'll find simple people-first HR conversations and tips to take the stress out of managing your team and put the humans at the centre of everything. So let's jump in. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to talk about the most avoided thing I see small business owners do, and that is avoiding tough conversations. I get it. If you have ever thought about walking into a tough conversation and your stomach drops, then you're not alone. We are all human, and we should be having our stomach go into knots or have butterflies, all of those kind of things in these situations. But it doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It doesn't mean that you're approaching it in a less human way or any of those kind of things. But I want to validate your fear. Your fear of these conversations is completely valid. There are legal risks associated with having these conversations in the right way. It feels emotionally uncomfortable to have these conversations. You're dealing with a human. You have no idea how they're going to react every time. And I get it. You're concerned about actually damaging the relationship that you have built with your employees. There are so many consequences for having these conversations. So I get it. If you've avoided them in the past, you need to ask yourself the question, have I actually made it worse rather than better by avoiding these conversations? Today, I want to give you a simple 3-step framework that is going to help support you in these situations. Now, I get it. Quite often, these conversations might be related to performance or conduct, but sometimes they're related to other things. They might be related to a major restructure of the business or a closing down of a business. There could be many, many reasons why you have to have a conversation that feels hard. This framework is going to work in all of those situations. So what are the steps? Prepare, communicate, and follow up. It's super simple. But it's these 3 steps that are actually going to assist you to feel confident and more calm in these situations. So prepare. How do we prepare? You need to get really clear on what the facts are. We need to walk into these conversations with the things that you believe the employee is going to see as important. Usually that is, how is this going to affect me? So you need to have the facts around that. You also need to have what desired outcome you want from this conversation. So are we aiming to inform of a process? Are we notifying them that their conduct or their performance is not appropriate? Are we advising them that they haven't followed a policy or a procedure? Or are we notifying them of an upcoming redundancy or something like that? You need to know what the facts are, what the desired outcome is going to be, and also what policies and procedures you have in place within the business that are going to guide the process. So make sure that you follow your processes that you've put in place previously. The next part of the process is to communicate it. So this is where you're actually having the conversation. Most often this is one-to-one, but I encourage you to offer the employee a support person. So a support person is a person who is there to listen and comfort the employee. They're not there to speak on their behalf. They are there to support them and to provide encouragement or emotional support. With regard to how you communicate, I want you to walk into that room with the understanding that what you're doing is a form of kindness. When we are providing advice, constructive criticism, you're actually heading into these conversations with kindness. It's actually going to be unkind for you to not communicate these things. So I really want you to head into this conversation in a really human way, recognizing the impact that it's going to have on the other person. I want you to use really direct but kind language that is clear and respectful, and that you stay as calm as possible in that situation. During these conversations, quite often, depending on how a person reacts, they can get quite heated. I want you to be not scared to end a conversation and come back later. It is absolutely okay to stand for yourself, or also stand up for the employee when they're not able to do it themselves and say, I think we're getting too fired up here. I think we need to walk away and take a breath, and we'll reconvene when it feels right for both of us. That is okay. We are human. We don't know how we're going to react, and you need to advocate for yourself, but you also need to be calm enough to advocate for your employee and what's right for them. Once you've had the conversation, it's really important to communicate in writing afterwards. So often, an employee is only going to hear the first little bit that you tell them. Their brains can't hold on to anything more because they start to spiral. So it's really important for you to communicate that conversation in a written form that they can come back to later. This is also really important for your record keeping, to record who was at the conversation, what was spoken about, and what the outcome was with regard to follow-up. So that takes us to our third step, follow-up. If you have promised to provide some kind of support, some kind of process, some kind of check-in, then it is your responsibility to make sure you deliver on that. You need to keep the momentum. These conversations can be a turning point rather than a breaking point. You can actually build confidence and actually build your relationship with your employee by having these tough conversations. You can handle them really well. You can have the hard conversation and you can build trust. You're also showing the employee and other employees, although we will manage confidentiality, we're setting a standard and we're setting a boundary of what's not acceptable within the business. So I really do encourage you to have these hard conversations, because you will actually reap the benefits of this in the long run. Now, I get it. Thinking about this is super, super overwhelming. Having hard conversations is something that has taken me a very long time to be okay with. So what I've done is poured my experience and my knowledge into our People First Performance Pack. The People First Performance Pack includes things like templates, email scripts, workflows, there's supportive checklists in there, all things to help you prepare for these tough conversations. There's also letters in there with regard to performance improvement and performance improvement plans. There's so many amazing tools in there for you to use to make these situations and these conversations better. I will make sure that the link for the People First Performance Pack is placed below. And I hope that this conversation and these key steps helps you to approach your next tough conversation in a more human and people-centered way. Till next time, chat soon. Thanks for joining me today on the HR Link. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you hit subscribe or follow so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. We always aim to help you lead your team with confidence and care. And if you're ready to take the next step, I encourage you to explore the HR Link. It's your HR partner in your pocket, We provide practical, people-first support to Aussie Australian businesses. You'll find the link below. But up until next time, keep leading with clarity, care and confidence, and we'll see you then.